Hello, everyone. Evil Antonio here, and today we're looking at the 1964 film Seduced and Abandoned. It's an Italian film. I don't know all the exact information on it, so I'm going to switch over to the other angle real quick. Alrighty. So, this film was directed by Pietro Germi. Might be butchering that name, by the way. Depending on how you pronounce the G's in Italiano. Story by Pietro Guillermi and Luciano Vincenzoni. Screenplay by Aganori Incrocchi. Incrocchi. Furio Scarpelli. Pietro Guillermi and Luciano Vincenzoni. Uh, Playing the role of Agnes is Stefania Sandrelli, who's shown up in more films after this. Playing Don Vincenzo is Sardo Urzi. Peppino's played by Aldo Puglisi, and there's a bunch of other people in the film as well. Cinematography by I don't even know how to pronounce that. Ese Parleon. Film editing by Roberto Cinquini. All right, there we go. I've humiliated myself enough doing that. And of course, my dog's barking in the background. Shut up, Shemp. So anyway, I like this film a lot. To give a very brief summary of it, it opens up with this guy Peppino, who basically rapes and impregnates this 16-year-old girl. And when I say rapes and impregnates a 16-year-old girl, it makes it sound like a very serious crime. And it is. And the film goes into that as well. But it does take some time getting into that. So it allows for some elements of comedy to come in before then. Because I don't think they explicitly mention the girl's age until way later on in the film when the actual policia get involved. God damn it, he won't shut up. So anyway, I enjoyed this film quite a bit. I like the Italian films in general. They have a very similar family structure to the Puerto Rican families, especially because this one, like, everybody lives under one roof. The grandpa, the father, the mother, the kids are all there. They're all adults. It reminds me a little bit of my family, where we've got grandpa and grandma down the street. We've got my parents' house here, me, and like two other siblings that are of age that should be out the house by now are still here. It's got that, and they're all in a small town, so I can recognize a lot of the little things that go on here, the little nuances that might be lost if you've been growing up in the city your whole life. A lot of that stuff rings very true to me, and so a lot of the comedy, thusly, still hit home very, very well for me. There are a lot of scenes that I laughed at pretty well, especially Vincento's pimp hand, man. That guy was a slap happy motherfucker, man. Oh, he loves slapping people. And man, did he do a lot of it in this movie. The other thing that I'd like to talk about is that I feel, despite the fact that this deals with some subject matter that with a lot of other films would cause them to become aged very quickly because our attitudes towards certain things have changed over time, this one was actually progressive in the sense that it dealt a critical eye towards this idea of honor weddings in Italy. It dealt with it before other films even got the chance to deal with it. Other films didn't get along to dealing with this stuff until like 1970 and such. And this is an early 60s film. So it's pretty progressive at how it handles it. And in terms of characters getting their comeuppance at the end of the films, it's not something where there's like a happy ending that would secretly be mortifying to you at the end. It's a very uneasy ending with how it decides to wrap up. And in that sense, it leaves you feeling a little bit down, although they put one or two punchlines at the very end to pick it back up just a tad. And so I feel as a comedy goes, it was very well crafted. The jokes were good. The narrative was strong. I liked the camera work as well. I felt it had a very nice flow to it. One of my favorite things is how they would cut between stuff getting thrown like insanely far distances and somehow hitting stuff. Like these guys should have been shot putters with the amount of times they were able to hit shit from far away. There's like one scene where Vincento slams a piece of paper down on the table, but the table is like all the way across the room from him, and somehow the paper lands right there. And then there's another scene later on involving something else that I don't want to spoil because it gets into some of the later narrative points. And again, it does the same thing where these guys are way across from each other. The guy throws something and he manages to hit it right there on the head, man. Like, wow, you guys got some good arms in this family. So, but I think it deals with some important elements at the time of how Italians would rather die for honor than actually see justice done in some situations. They'd rather see it done in a way that makes the family look good and that doesn't make them get embarrassed than actually like seeing the actual justice get done. And in that sense, that relates to a lot of stuff that happens here in America nowadays. I feel like there's still a lot of shit that goes on in America where people are more concerned with how things look and how things are presentable than what's actually going on underneath the surface and what's actually supposed to be happening. And you see that very well in this movie. They hammer that point home very well, putting it right on a tombstone, as a matter of fact. So, yeah. If I had to rate this movie, I'd give this probably like I don't know, like a 4.5 out of 5. I liked it a lot. I had a good time with it. It was a very fun movie. It picked me up out of a bad mood. And so if you're in a dark mood, this might be the perfect movie to watch for you because it's got some dark elements in it. It's got some stuff that can leave you contemplating and questioning stuff later on. It's got some very racy subject matter that it handles pretty well in the fact that it doesn't immediately date itself with how it chooses to handle it, which you could say, how could a movie do that? And movies from the 60s did that quite a bit. If you watch the In Like Flint series, they managed to do that with both movies. So, big ups to Seduced and Abandoned. It really worked out very well. So, yeah, there you go. You can check out the PayPal right here. Video from yesterday up there. I got not much more to say. I'm pretty sleepy right now, so I'm probably going to be wrapping up for the night anyway. I will talk to you all tomorrow with the next film. And, I'm pretty rusty right now. I ain't done this shit in like a year. So the critiques will get back up to the level y'all are used to at. Give me like a week or two. I still got to get the rusty shaken off. So there you go. All right. Talk to you then.